This is the AM News. Let's get into the details. The Public Utilities Regulatory Commission is asking the Electricity Company of Ghana to furnish it with a load management timetable amidst incessant disruptions in electricity supply across the country. Despite recent power interruptions, ECG has stated there is currently no need for a timetable. However, the company has attributed the crisis to 630 overloaded transformers during the peak hours, indicating that these transformers in its operational areas have exceeded their full rising electricity demand. Ranking member on Parliament's Mines and Energy Committee, John Jinapor, says government must come clean that the system is bankrupt and hinders smooth operations.
The truth is they are shedding load, there's a deficit, demand outstrips supply. So no matter what ECG does, even if you give ECG all the transformers, they simply do not have the power to supply. It's because of a financial challenge. Check with Gridco. They've had to go for an overdraft to pay their workers. The system is financially bankrupt. The energy sector debt is exceeded 1.5 billion. The Ministry of Finance since August has not been able to pay even 1 CD for power consumed by the government agencies. This is captured by the PURC. But I'll be very, very surprised if ECG heeds to the directive. This is not an advice. To a directive from the PURC, which they ought to, because the minister, just like the president is, once had come to say that we should go and publish our own timetable, and that they wouldn't publish a timetable, Ghanaians should not expect the ECG to abide by the instructions of the PURC. But all this still comes to leadership.
I mean, you say that you expect the ECG to go the way the minister indicated and not comply with the directive?
Because the minister has so much political power.
But there's sanctions. The ECG, the
PURC can only give them sanctions to pay penalties. The minister can fire the ECG boss. The PURC cannot fire the ECG boss. But like I'm saying, you know this. Don't we have higher authority? What is the presidency doing? What is the head of the economic management team doing? Parliament invited them. We waited for them. They did not come. They did not appear. They didn't even have the courtesy to call the chairman to inform the chairman. So we might have to use parliamentary processes. And you and I know how frustrating it can be on the floor of Parliament.
Who did you invite specifically? The minister?
We invited the ministry, ECG, Gridco, almost all the industry players. They did not appear.
Not even one?
Not even one. Not even the courtesy of informing us that we are unable to come. Because, once again, and this is important, when they appear before a parliamentary subcommittee, they will be under oath. And they can deceive you, they can lie to you. But when they appear before our committee, and they churn out false information, it means that they will be facing perjury. So they wouldn't even.
Energy Minister Matthew Opoku-Prempeh says there is simply no need for a load-shedding timetable. In an interview with Abochie, he assured that Ghana will not return to the dark days of dumsor.
Energy sector, the current power cuts. Some people are saying that you made mention of this. You use this as a campaign against John Mahama, and now we are experiencing a worse situation under President Akufo-Addo. Would it reflect in the 2024 election? Would it be something that people will stand on to vote?
If you are comparing 4 years, MPP administration, energy sector is 300 times better than John Mahama.
But we are still experiencing dumsor.
Nobody has said we haven't. I'm just saying it's far much better than John Mahama ever did.
You do admit that there's dumsor.
That is the word you used. I have never used that word. I've promised you that we are going to work on it. And it's not a work that is a single event. It's a process. And we'll continue to work on it for the energy sector to become better.
Have you heard of calls for a timetable?
Ask those who want it to bring it.
They should bring the timetable.
If there is, I haven't seen any timetable. So when
people are calling,
I say bring a timetable, what do you mean? The ECG says that there is no timetable coming. Why do you want to bring a timetable? What purpose? Why would somebody get up and wish evil or bad for the country. When it is not planned, you can't tell the person. Were you in Ghana under your mama? Did you live in this country under your mama? Did you live in this country under your mama? Did you? I'm asking a question. Did you live?
It was equally worse.
It cannot be equally worse.
MPP use it as a tool against them.
And I'm saying that even if you are talking about that, it was worse under John Mahama than ever now.
That's our Energy Minister there saying that those who want a timetable should produce it. Well, let's move on. The NDC parliamentary candidate for Efutu, James Kofi Anan, is asking governments to address existing challenges with senior high schools instead of launching new policies for these schools. His comments follow the launch of the Ghana Smart Schools project. Now, according to him, the education system has more challenges that need immediate fixing than adding to it. Peter Stenu has more in the following report.
On Monday, government launched the much-anticipated One Laptop, One Student initiative for senior high schools across the country, dubbed Ghana Smart Schools project at the Accra International Conference Center. The project is expected to distribute some 1 million laptops to senior high school students across the country. Just hours after the launch of the project, some education enthusiasts and critics have come at government for burying its head in the sand, adding more problems than solutions to the education sector. James Kofi Anan is one of such individuals. He wants government to pay attention to the existing challenges facing the education sector.
I can tell you that the One Laptop per Student, that's Ghana Smart School project, is a flawed initiative. There are senior high schools in Ghana that do not have computer labs and laptops. Many schools heads have confided in me that there was little or no consultation with school heads ahead of the announcement of the One Laptop per Student project. We were in this country when teachers were supplied same laptops. Ask them what the current state of those laptops are. There are schools that are really under unlimited constraint with regards to paying utility and water bills. The headmaster of Infantipim was in the news recently, getting support of parents to help pay the school's mounting bills because government has defaulted in paying those bills. Only last week, it was announced that senior high schools in Ghana owe ECG over 45 million Ghana cedis in electricity bills. Government was only able to pay 5 million after the ECG threatened mass disconnection exercise. With this poorly thought through initiative not up to the defaulting electricity bills of these secondary schools,
he wants immediate suspension of the project since there is no adequate infrastructure for the maintenance of the laptops.
Government should immediately withdraw this One Laptop per Student project, should withdraw it and rather invest it in the same second cycle institutions, SHS institutions, so that the schools, the senior high schools, would all benefit, including the students that they have been given the computers to today. So that it will not be one person benefiting from the project, but all the children, the students in the school would benefit.
He's calling on teacher unions to look government in the face and speak truth to power.
I'm expecting NAT to rise to the occasion and tell government in the face that this is a wrong project. I'm expecting NAGRAT to rise to tell government in the face that this is a wrong project. I'm expecting Concerned Teachers Association to rise to tell government in the face that this is a wrong project. I'm expecting all the teacher unions to rise to tell government in the face that this is a misplaced priority, it's a wrong project, it's not sustainable, and it is too populist. I'm expecting all these unions to come up. Because you see, they themselves, whilst we were going around gathering evidence, they themselves were telling us that this project is dead on arrival.
Peter Senu for JoyNews.
Now, the New Patriotic Party's parliamentary candidate for Tamale North, Abdul Rahman Alidu, has begun the dredging of the Fo Dam ahead of the raining season. According to Mr. Alidu, if the dam is properly dredged, they will meet the water table for the water to spring out. He believes this will help the women until there is enough water during the raining season.
Fort Dam is a huge asset for the people of Fort and its adjoining communities. The people rely on this water for their domestic chores during the rainy season and the dry season. But of recent, the water dries up some few months after the dry season sets in. It is against this backdrop that the MPP parliamentary candidate for the Tamale North constituency, Abdul Rahman Alidu, stepped in. He said since the last 4 years, no major works has been done on the dam. Reason is unable to hold much water.
Over four years now, since the One Village, One Dam contractors came here to expand the dam, nobody has actually come here to do work again. So for that matter, the water in the dam is all gone. This dam also serves several communities around. And the unfortunate part is that our current member of parliament is just 500 meters away from the dam. He knows exactly what is happening in this dam. And then he has been called on to come, and then he has not paid any heed to it. So a team from the full community reached out to us and then appealed that they want their dam to be dredged. Actually, when the appeal came, I also met our vice president and then current president candidate for the New Patriotic Party, NPP, Alidu Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, to tell him that his community, full community, needs to dredge their dam. And then he also assisted in the dredging process. So he actually sent me to come and then dredge this dam for them. He also lives about 500 meters away from here.
Okay, you mentioned the member of parliament having called upon and he didn't listen. We know there's a borehole behind here 2-3 years ago. He actually constructed that. So it means that he's come in before.
The borehole he sank here. There's no water in there. Nobody would have been worried about the dam. But there's no water in the borehole.
He also collected hues of garbage piled at Kalpohene and the Snake Flats. Mr. Alidu accused the incumbent member of parliament for the Tamale North constituency, NDC candidate Alhassan Suhini, of not paying heed to the calls of the people.
To Kalpohene is also another appeal by the Kalpohene chief and the assembly member there, Honorable Aru, and then the chief, that they have a refuse dam that has been heaped there for over 4 years. That one too, a call has been made to the doors of the parliamentary Honorable Suhini.
But that is not the role of the MP. The assembly is supposed to take that.
Yes, he is part of the assembly. He has a common fund that he's supposed to use to work. Just recently, a common fund of over 400,000 was paid into his account. What's he using it for? When we have other places that we have sanitary problems, that he could easily get vehicles to come and then help the people in the community. He should use that money to work for the community, not for himself.
But why should communities dirty themselves and you expect them to use money to come and take care of it, whereas they can channel it to providing chairs or tables or building schools for people?
That is another issue. You know, sanitation is part of a developmental problem that we are looking at. Water, sanitation, and all those things that we are talking about, they are all part of the developmental problem. Now, of course, the attitude of people, we cannot exempt the attitude of people in whatever we are doing. But when things happen, we have to just step in and assist and now find a channel of educating the people on what to do.
In other stories, persons with disability in Ghana are charging authorities to enforce laws that ensure public facilities are made disability-friendly to ease struggles they have to deal with on a daily basis. According to the chairman of the Center for Employment for PWDs and the Chamber for Entrepreneurs with Disabilities, Alex Kojotete, such laws will ensure that public places are friendly for people with disabilities, enabling them to access employment opportunities and contribute meaningfully to society. He made the call when the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints provided a range of items to persons with disabilities at the Kofi in the Central Region. There's more in this report.
According to the Persons with Disability Act 2006, Act 715, it is mandatory for all buildings to which the public has access to be fitted with disability-friendly facilities to make them accessible to persons with disabilities. This is the sole responsibility of the owner or occupier of such buildings. However, over the years, these laws have not been fully enforced, leaving these persons to struggle with access to such facilities. Chairman of the Center for Employment for Persons with Disabilities and the Chamber for Entrepreneurs with Disabilities, Alex Kojotete, believes this enforcement will bring relief to these persons.
That building has features that will make disabled people to access that building. And it's in our law that public spaces must be made accessible to persons with disabilities. We are not doing. And government is also not monitoring. There's nobody monitoring to ensure that buildings are accessible. Parliament has passed the law, and everybody go to sleep. It is assumed that once the law is passed, everybody will stay in line. Buildings will be made accessible. Ramps will be built. Lifts will be made fixed. But it's not happening. So Parliament must make it a point and monitor, ensure that buildings that are built must ensure that they are accessible to persons with disabilities, are fixed onto the buildings, lifts are fixed to ensure that disabled people are able also to access that building. Straighten, because look, you are born into this world to also actualize your dream. Now, you should be able to go to school, you should be able to access your health services, you should be able to work, to earn income, and earn a living, marry, and make a family. But look, there's barrier all over the spaces.
The items donated by the church is to put smiles on the faces of these persons with disabilities. Area 70 of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Elder Anthony Kaku, stressed the pivotal role of aid and assistance in fostering stronger, more resilient communities, while reiterating the church's commitment to supporting those in need.
We probably will not need central government to come and help. We look at them and think it's somebody's business to help them, but it's our business to help each other. So for me, I think what we need to do as a community, as a society here, is to help each other. And then we have done God's work that He wants us to do.
Chief Executive Officer of the legendary Capital Events, Eunice Smart Kweno, received some of the items on behalf of the beneficiaries, highlighted the challenges faced by women in the Kofi.
Persons with disability, we're not doing much for them. Persons with disability in Chede, they can't do anything. They can do with our support. They can do a lot. Why you might be brave. Mangasa media how ya mecha won insanu djuma bi wo ho a ebi ota wo che mu nche de ebi aninsan ye djuma o ye djuma obetum wa hia semina ye betum wa pamade. It depends on how we put it across, the support across. In the best of bibia de baby o biara one brand be boahen na yantum yemboa besiafo another persons with disability no also one for one tampa one fra.
Items donated included 30 wheelchairs and 10 pairs of crutches, 30 packs of sanitary pads, some school supplies and foodstuffs, among others.
Now, the Optometry Association of Ghana says most facilities in the public sector lack the needed facilities to allow for the full practice of the scope of optometry in Ghana. President of the association, Professor Samuel Boedikusi, says the situation must be addressed by managers of the country's health facilities and, by extension, government. He's been speaking at this year's World Optometry Day at the University of Cape Coast.
According to Professor Samuel Boedikusi, the profession of optometry has expanded globally, and such expansion has become necessary because of the global eye care needs. Speaking at the World Optometry Day in Cape Coast, he stressed the need for adequate structures to be put in place to enable the country harness the best practices of optometry in Ghana.
In partnership with the TVLA, optometrists are currently providing eye care services for all who seek driving licenses, as well as those who seek renewal of their licenses as per the laws of Ghana. This has provided another layer of care and service to identify eye conditions in time and to prevent blindness, as well as promote safety on our roads. Let me, however, underscore that most facilities in the public sector lack the needed equipment to allow for the full practice of the scope of optometry in Ghana, and this must be addressed by the managers of our health facilities and government.
Director of Allied Health at the Ministry of Health, Dr. Ignatius Awimbono, says the ministry has taken note of all the challenges raised by the association, and government will do everything possible to help them resolve the issues.
It is also prudent to use this occasion to reflect on some of the challenges we face in the provision of optometry. The shortage of trained optometrists often leads to extended waiting periods and potential compromises in the quality of health eye care. The ministry acknowledges these challenges and is dedicated to tackling them through various initiatives, including the raising of public awareness of the importance of optometric services and eye care services in the country.
We see between 2,500 and 3,000 cases every year, and we also do community eye screening and school eye screening.
The Ministry of Health paid a glowing tribute to the optometrists for the diverse roles they continue to play in the healthcare ecosystem.
And it's a wrap for the news, AM News. Up next is the conversations. We know we have a plethora of conversations coming your way, starting with a news review. Financial analyst Dr. Wisdom Kofi Dogbe is our guest. Stick with us from now till 10 a.m.